If you're hearing this, well done. You found a way to connect to the internet. Welcome to the QAA Podcast Premium Episode 306, Rapture, Denied. As always, we're your hosts, Jake Rockatansky,
Liv Akar,
and Travis View.
Elaine, now you had another date in mind.
According to my source, the end of the world will be on February 14th in the year 2016.
Valentine's Day. Bummer. Where'd you get your date, Elaine?
I received this information from an alien. As I told my husband, it was in the Paramus Holiday Inn. I was having a drink at the bar, alone, and this alien approached me. He started talking to me. He bought me a drink, and then I think he must have used some kind of a ray or a mind control device because he forced me to follow him to his room. And that's where he told me about the end of the world.
So your alien had a room at the Holiday Inn, Paramus.
It might have been a room on the spacecraft made up to look like a room at the Holiday Inn. I can't be sure about that, Peter.
Of course not. And that is the whole problem with aliens, is you just can't trust them. Occasionally you meet a nice one, Starman, E.T., but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard. That's all the time we've got for this week on World of the Psychic. Next week, though, give me Ira. Hairless pets. Weird. Until then, this is Peter Vickman saying, see you then.
Fantastic.
You want to hear something funny? During my trip, I actually stayed in Paramus. But
You're kidding.
no. But it's the Holiday Inn is no longer standing. It's now a Comfort Inn.
That's so funny because there's a reason that Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis put specifically the Holiday Inn in Paramus into the movie. So something must have happened there.
Yeah.
Folks, it brings me no joy to tell you that the Rapture has come and gone. For those of us who are still here, I'm sorry, boy. But perhaps, unsurprisingly, the hosts of the QAA podcast were not taken up to heaven, except for Annie, the best of all of us. But there's also a good chance that the Rapture, at least the one believed to be foretold in the New Testament, did not happen, and that the hell we are currently living in is man-made after all. Now, I'm old enough now to have lived through a couple raptures. Travis, you as well, I'm sure. There was Y2K, which was kind of like a technological rapture that never really materialized.
Yeah, I do remember that. I remember, there was lots of concern over that. And but I think that's one of those things that was just avoided through knowing it was going to happen and a lot of software updates.
I have a family member, actually, who was integral into helping the banks reset their inner programming so that the system would stay online in the year 2000.
Sorry, Julian isn't on the podcast to point this out, but you have a family who's big in with the banks, Jake.
Liv's face, before she even said that, turned into the devil emoji. Instantly recognized the absence of Julian.
Julian's not here. Someone has to do it. Embody the spirit of Julian for this episode.
So there was also, of course, 2012, the Mayan Rapture. This also didn't really pan out, but at least we got a very entertaining John Cusack movie out of it.
That was my first real one because I was 2 in the 2001, and I was a little worried. I had, anxious OCD.
Yeah.
So that whole day was a little what if minds are right?
What's gonna happen?
Yeah, people were I feel like you just can't get that anymore. You can't convince that amount of people. There's no monoculture anymore.
Yeah, that's so true. I wish we could convince everybody of one thing. But this latest Rapture prediction is on everyone's radar because, some guy essentially just said it was going to happen, specifically on September 23rd and 24th of this past week. I wrote this episode at my personal computer at 9:30 p.m. on September 24th. We were recording it on the following day. So at the time of the writing, for the East Coast, the Rapture has passed. And for us West Coasters, we still have a chance for the next 2 hours or so, although clearly that didn't happen. The claim went viral on TikTok. According to Newsweek, as of Tuesday of this week, writing on Wednesday, there were over 321,000 posts on TikTok alone about the upcoming rapture, and probably an equal number of posts making fun of those people. So who is this South African pastor that went viral on social media for his very specific, nearly imminent end times prophecy? Well, I'm going to tell you about him, and afterwards, Liv is going to bless us with TikTok's reaction to both the prophecy and its failure. Before we get into Joshua himself and the consequences of making such a bold prediction with so very little time to grift off of it, which I always think is funny, Travis, like, you know, if you're gonna make a prophecy, at least give yourself a couple years to grift off of it. Write a book, a channel, something like that.
But no, in this age of instant gratification, people want the rapture to happen soon, within the week. They'll lose concentration. They'll get bored if you say it's going to happen years into the future.
So I wanted to do a quick refresher on the idea of the rapture itself as a biblical concept. I do this because I am Jewish and a glutton for making episodes more difficult than they need to be. I don't think there's a rapture for Jews. I think we're somehow part of the Christian rapture, maybe in a bad way.
Yeah, I don't think I'm not a Christian either, and I was not raised Christian, but I don't think you're going up with them.
No.
Jake, I don't think so.
Somebody once said we were like the landing pad. Like that we'll all be in Israel and like we think we've won, but then we're just kind of like, a soft landing pad for the Lord.
No, yeah, I think the job of the Jews is to like make the welcome party for Jesus, but you're not going up.
So what? We can have like a couple hors d'oeuvres and then sort of just left behind?
Yeah, that's basically it.
I'll bet Christians are like, no, the Jews, they want to like rule over hell. Like that's what they can become the rulers there. We'll go off to heaven. It's like when the elves sort of go away to like their land where they live forever. But I did some research and I looked it up. And so the verb in Greek, haparzo, meaning to seize or snatch up, was translated into Latin as rapturo. It is from this that we get the English word rapture.
It's also raptor is to steal. It's a similar.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting. But until 100 years or so ago, the bulk of Christianity's mainstream teaching did not focus on a separate event in which believers are beamed up into heaven. The concept of a separate pre-tribulation rapture was popularized in the 19th century by John Nelson Darby, an English evangelist and founder of the Plymouth Brethren. Darby would later develop the idea of dispensational premillennialism, which systemized history into eras and put the rapture before a 7-year tribulation.
That's beautiful. So it's the very Protestant thing of like, if you believe, like you will be rewarded by God in this life as well.
Yeah,
you won't
exactly.
have to deal with all the bullshit.
Yeah, so his ideas had a major impact on the United States. First, through an edition of the Schofield Reference Bible, which was published in 1909, which included dispensationalist footnotes below the biblical text. And in the 20th century, the belief became enshrined in broad swaths of American evangelicalism.
I think it really is interesting. Like, if you grow up Christian, you are left with this idea that, like, well, just rapture is just part of, like, normal Christian eschatology. When really, it wasn't invented in the United States, but it is primarily an American evangelical concept.
You've been listening to a sample of a premium episode of the QAA podcast. For access to the full episode, as well as all past premium episodes and all of our podcast miniseries, go to patreon.com/QAA. Travis, why is that such a good deal?
Well, Jake, you get hundreds of additional episodes of the QAA podcast for just $5 per month. For that very low price, you get access to over 200 premium episodes, plus all of our miniseries. That includes 10 episodes of Man Clan with Julian and Annie, 10 episodes of Perverts with Julian and Liv, 10 episodes of The Spectral Voyager with Jake and Brad, plus 20 episodes of Trickle Down with me, Travis View. It's a bounty of content, and the best deal in podcasting.
Travis, for once, I agree with you. And I also agree that people could subscribe by going to patreon.com/QAA.
Well, that's not an opinion, it's a fact.
You're so right, Jake.
We love and appreciate all of our listeners.
Yes, we do. And Travis is actually crying right now, I think, out of gratitude, maybe?
That's not true. The part about me crying, not me being grateful. I'm very grateful.